now your serious questions. As a leader in the Students' Union, what would your reaction be to potential cuts in funding to higher education? And what effects would you anticipate this might have on the Students' Union?
Well, I think that the effects, there's multiple effects. I think one of them might be morale affected, the morale might be affected. I'm a strong believer that there should be more of a community, and that doesn't just mean the community here on Queensgate campus. I think at Oldham and Barnsley, I think if people's courses start getting cut and opportunities start becoming limited, people are going to get really, really disheartened. Obviously, you don't just know people off your course. You know, you've made friends with people off other courses. If they were suddenly, you know, to lose their course because of the higher education cuts, I think that would be a great shame. I also think that the sabbatical team, the prospective sabbatical team at the minute, have some great ideas. I think the union would be greatly affected if the money wasn't in place to drive them ideas on. One thing I promise, and I'm running on a slate, I'm not going to lie, is that if I got in and my slate didn't, I would want to work with anyone that got into power in negotiating them cuts. I don't think it's fair to say that if I got in and my team didn't, I would shut up shop. I would definitely want to listen to my team, because everyone's going to bring their own perspectives to it. I also think that in areas like communication and activities, it's vital to have that funding, because without that funding we wouldn't have the radio station, we wouldn't have the paper, and they're independent voices, and them independent voices need to act as a watchdog to the union. So if I did something wrong with my tenure as presidency, if I was elected, I would be expected to held to account, not necessarily by a boss like the general manager or the likes of Jenny Haig, but by, you know, the students themselves, basically.
Okay. I hope you've read the other candidates' manifestos, because the last question is, which elements of other candidates' manifestos do you think are a good idea?
This is going to sound really odd, but because she's running against me, but I really like Kareen's idea to make mature students and students that are mothers and fathers feel more part of the community. That's something that I would definitely incorporate into my manifesto. From speaking to people on another slate as well, I think I saw Sir Hales, and he said something along the lines of, when I was talking to him, that Oldham and Barnsley, like we've been saying all afternoon, need to be incorporated a hell of a lot better than they already are. So I definitely, through communication, by opening up events to them, so I definitely think that's a very strong aspect of another person's manifesto. And listening to Tank and Kieran as well, the ideas of creating more societies and encouraging healthy, I suppose it falls in with Natalie and Rich, who's running for welfare as well, creating like healthy options, encouraging, rather than people just to go out drinking, getting blattered, because I know everyone likes to do that, but I'd rather also encourage, you know, people to get involved in exercise, get involved in activities, and if they don't want to play the activities, they should support our teams in doing them activities. I understand that the men's hockey team won a rather important game yesterday, but I'd really like to encourage people to go down and support everything that goes on at this union, whether it be a hockey match or a badminton match. We need to make it, dare I say it, more like, you know, like American colleges kind of thing, where people actually throw themselves behind teams rather than just letting teams fester on their own.
Okay, so over to you guys again. Any questions for Matt? Got one from Chu.
How do you feel that managing a radio station qualifies you to be president of our union?
Well, I feel as though to manage a radio station, which currently has 80 volunteers, you need to be very organised. You need to be able, you know, to help people if they come to you and tap you on the shoulder and say, look, I need to do this. You need to be a strong leader and make decisions. Programmes that are going to where you made a point in the last question to Ben about ensuring that nothing offensive gets aired or gets put in the paper. Obviously you need to have guidelines on that, so you need a strong leader. I believe that I am a strong leader, and I also believe that to have a strong leader you need to have strong people underneath you, and there are a lot of strong candidates running, and I feel as I work well as a team, in a team as well. Like I say, no matter if it's with the slate that I'm running with or if I got in, and variations of other combinations got in as well. You need to have a strong leadership. You need to be organised. You need to be able to have forward thinking, drive plans on. I've sat down with people who are going to take over the radio station next year, and they've come up with some very good plans. And I ratify all of them plans as well. I think they're absolutely brilliant. Same with the newspaper. I know Jenny's running for editor. She's got some. It's a shame that she can't get up here and tell you her plans. And I'll put her on the spot. You need to work with people. That's what I've been doing for a year. And I haven't just worked with a typical archetypical student. I've worked with international students. I've worked with part-time students. I've worked with mature students. And that's why I think I can connect to them on all levels.
Any more questions for Matt? Ex-president.
Hi. Looking back at the current president, myself, and all the presidents before,
John.
for example, all these presidents had previous experience in the student union as sabbatical officer prior to becoming president. It's not the case for you, and the last time we had such case, so a student arriving out of nowhere and basically running for president and being elected, he wasn't really successful. How do you think that you could balance this, and how do you think you can change that?
Well, for a start, I understand that person, I think I know who you're talking about. No, I'm not going to name. Ran, as far as I'm aware, unopposed. I've got to fight for my right for you guys to want to make me your president. There's two other candidates, it's a shame. Obviously, Karine can't make it, it's a shame Zeshan isn't here, because I'd love to have a bit of a debate with Zeshan. I genuinely think that I am actually interested in what goes on in the union. I was here that year, in my first year, when that happened, if it's the incident, the president you're on about, and I genuinely think that I could have ran the place better as a first year coming to Huddersfield for the first time. I've had 3 years experience. I don't think it's right to say, oh, you've been in charge of communications already, so you've got God's given right to be president. You shouldn't have to, that's exactly the sort of thing we want to discourage. We want to encourage more participation in the election. So if we just say you're only going to be good for this job if you've already had a job as a VP, then that's discouraging participation. Surely I should be a model for people, hopefully a role model for people to say, I haven't been a VP, I have had some involvement, but yes, you can run as well. We're not just interested in people who are currently intertwined in the politics. Let's open it out to everyone, otherwise it's unfair.
Any more questions for Matt? No? Okay then. Another round of applause.